doesn't get any more exciting than this.
Well, Doc Howard's Distillery is a family-run distillery using as much local products as we can, and it's based on the small distilleries that were in Ohio before Prohibition. Before Prohibition, majority of the liquor in the state were made by small, local, family-run distilleries. There was 42 of them in the state before Prohibition. We make 5 whiskeys and 2 rums. We make a 100% rye whiskey, very popular among Crown Royal drinkers and Irish whiskey drinkers. We make a tribute, which is our tribute to bourbon, classic bourbon grain bill, 75% corn, 10% rye, 15% malted barley. Then we make 100% corn. That's a very tasty moonshine. I've had good moonshine. It can be tasteless and clear and smooth, but ours has a very, very, very strong flavor. Then we make a cinnamon whiskey, which is a cinnamon bourbon. We make that out of our tribute bourbon. And then for our maple bourbon, we make a different bourbon. It's a Maker's Mark type bourbon made with wheat instead of rye. We found the rye got in the way of the maple flavor. So it's a milder bourbon that we can add our maple to and let the maple flavor come out. We have 2 rums, a golden rum, and then we take that golden rum, and my wife Sherry's in charge of all flavoring. She's in charge of putting the cinnamon in the cinnamon whiskey and the maple in the maple, and she's also in charge of putting the spices in our spiced rum.
I like this one because it smells like, you know, the malt that you use in like malts for ice cream and stuff, and it smells like that.
We start with 100 pounds of grain and 40 gallons of 195-degree water. We put it in one of our mashers back there, and we let it cook for about an hour. Then we'll add the malted grains, and the malted grains have enzymes in them that convert the starches into sugar. Then 2 days later, after it's cooled down to about from 195 degrees to 85 degrees, we add our yeast. And that's in the form of spent grain from the last batch, because it's full of yeast, kind of like sourdough. Take a little pinch off the mother one and start another one. Then that'll ferment for 5 to 7 days. And when it's done, we'll put it through a filter that we made. We use the grain itself as a filter medium. We'll pump the grain into the filter and circulate it till it comes out clear. We'll collect 48 gallons. 48 gallons goes in, and we'll end up ultimately with 6 gallons of 60% whiskey. Right here in front of us, we've got 3 batches of rum. This batch is done. You can see there's no bubbles coming up because it's done fermenting. These 2 though, they're still going, and you can see the airlocks have a lot of bubbles coming through them. That means their yeast is still fermenting. It's 7 weeks, because it's about a week, 2 weeks for mashing, fermenting, and filtering. It takes a day or 2 to filter it, and then another day to distill it, and then at least 5 weeks of sitting in the barrel. So it's a good 7 weeks. We have a special process for our mashing, and it develops a very full mouthfeel. It's a very full grain flavor. We are a state licensed store, and they can come here for tastings, and of course tours. Tours are our favorite because we're very proud of everything we built here. Just like the family-run distilleries before Prohibition, we built as much of our own equipment as we could. I figure if you're doing that in 1910, you'd probably build as much as you could, so that's what we've tried to do. So we're very proud of what we built there, and we like to show people that. So we go tastings and tours. We can also sell our product here.